Hi, my name's Val McDermid and I'm a crime writer. I first came to Manchester in 1979 for work. I was a journalist at the time and I had a job on the Sunday People, Northern office. At that time there were 137 journalists who worked for Mirror Group newspapers in Manchester. Of that 137, 3 of us were women. There was 1 woman on the Daily Mirror, 1 on the Sunday Mirror, and 1 on the Sunday People. And that was all you needed really. Once you had your woman, that was you sorted. It was a bit like having a sports specialist or something like that. You know, the woman could do those kind of stories. And I have to say that working in that environment was very similar to the sort of environment there seemed to have been at Sky Sports with Andy Gray and Richard Keys. The big difference really is that back in my day, if I had complained about the sexism that was overt in every aspect of my working life, I would have been seen as a humourless, feminist, ball-breaking bitch. Whereas now, I'm glad to say that the world has changed a little bit and that people took these kind of sexism seriously, and it was heartening to me that a lot of the voices raised against this were men who now have come to understand how offensive and oppressive that kind of behaviour is. In my own field, in crime writing, you would think that women had already conquered the world. We were there right from the beginning. When people talk about the golden age of crime fiction, they talk about Agatha Christie, Dorothy Sayers, Marjorie Allingham, Niall Marsh, Josephine Tey. But in spite of that, all these years on, women are still very much seen as the junior partners in many respects. If you actually look at the review coverage that women writers get, we get about 1/3 of the review coverage in total, in spite of the fact that we publish at least half the books that are out there and certainly feature as prominently in the bestseller lists. The issue of writing about violence is one where again you can still see a strong differentiation between the genders. When men write about violence, that's okay, that's fine. Nobody says to them, what does it feel like being a man writing about violence? But routinely I and pretty much every other female crime writer who writes at the darker end of the spectrum is routinely asked, what is it like for you as a woman writing about violence? Do you think it's appropriate for a woman to be writing about violence against women? As if somehow we need permission to write about something that is a very vivid and live part of so many women's lives. Women are much more likely to be killed in domestic violence than men, after all. But somehow, if we write about this, we're transgressing. I would like that to change.